Story 1. The 10th Key. When I moved into my new apartment, the landlord handed me a ring with 9 keys. "You won't need the 10th one," he said casually, pointing to a rusted blackened key dangling loosely at the end. "It's just for maintenance." The apartment was perfect. Quiet, clean, a little cold at night, but I liked that. The neighbors were polite but distant, just the way I preferred. On the 4th night, I noticed something odd. Every morning, the 10th key was slightly out of place. Not gone, just turned. It clinked against the other keys like it had been moved. I chalked it up to habit. Maybe I was playing with it subconsciously. Then came the scratching. Soft, rhythmic scratching from behind the bathroom mirror, like a pencil on drywall. I assumed mice, maybe plumbing issues. But when I called maintenance, the man on the phone went silent. "You used the 10th key, didn't you?" I hadn't. I told him so. He just whispered, "Don't." I couldn't stop thinking about it. What did it open? Where did it lead? That night, I gave in. I turned the key in the utility door at the end of the hallway, the one I'd never noticed before. It clicked smoothly. Inside was a narrow stairwell, descending into a dim space below the building. There were chairs, dozens of them, arranged in a perfect circle, and one old rotary phone in the center, resting on a table. It began to ring. I ran. The next morning, the 10th key was gone. Story 2. The House That Watches. Everyone called it the Blinking House. It was a name given long ago, after neighbors noticed its windows occasionally flickered from the inside, not with light, but with something else. As if the glass itself was shifting, warping, like an eye blinking against the light. I was the first in 30 years to move in. At first, nothing happened. The air was stale, the floors creaked like bones, but nothing supernatural. Not until I found the drawings in the attic. Dozens of them. Charcoal sketches of people standing in the exact rooms of the house, just like I did. Each figure looked exhausted, like they hadn't slept in days. Their eyes were always circled in black. And then I saw one sketch that made me stop breathing. It was me. Same shirt, same socks, sitting at the edge of the bed as I was in that exact moment. I laughed it off, called it a coincidence. But each morning there was a new sketch left on my kitchen table. Me brushing my teeth, me blinking too long, me looking directly at the mirror. I don't remember drawing them. The final one showed me asleep, with the house watching, and behind it, in the walls, a faint outline of another eye, wide, open, and impossibly large. Story 3. The Voice in the Fan. It started during the summer, when I left the fan running all night. As I drifted off to sleep, I heard it. Faint syllables tucked between the whirring blades. Not words, not quite, just tone. Like a voice humming without sound. I thought it was my imagination, until it started forming phrases. Gentle ones, soft and harmless at first. "Stay still. Don't breathe too loud. Not yet." I tested it, turned off the fan. Silence. Turned it back on. Whispers returned. I recorded it, played it back. Nothing. One night, it changed. "You've been chosen," it said. "Stay cool. Stay listening." And then the power went out. Total silence. The room suffocated in heat. I waited for it to come through the walls or through the vent. Instead, the power blinked back on 5 minutes later. The fan started spinning again. And this time, the voice sighed. "Finally," it said, "now we begin." Story 4. Only Reflections. There's a mirror at my parents' house that doesn't reflect reality. I never told them because I wasn't sure I believed it myself. It looks normal, clean, but if you stare too long, it starts to shift. The angle feels wrong. Your reflection's expression lags behind. When I was 12, I waved at my own reflection and it didn't wave back. I blinked, and it blinked twice. I avoided it for years. But last month, when I returned to help settle the house after my father's death, I had to sleep in my old room again, with the mirror right across from the bed. The first few nights were fine, but on the 4th, I woke up facing it. My reflection was already looking at me, wide-eyed, unblinking. I sat up. It didn't. I slowly turned on the lamp. The reflection was smiling. When I looked away and back again, it was gone. Just me again. I covered the mirror with a blanket. The next morning, the blanket was folded neatly on the floor, and written on the mirror in the fog of condensation, "You blinked first." Story 5. The Quiet Room. Hospitals have spaces the public never sees. Storage wings, sealed halls, rooms with no names. One door in the hospital where I worked night shifts was labeled simply, "Quiet." No room number, just that one word in fading red paint. The door was always closed, the hallway dim. I passed it for weeks without ever thinking much. Then one night, the door was ajar. Inside was only a single gurney, perfectly made, and an old intercom hanging from the ceiling. As I stood at the threshold, the intercom crackled. "Please return to your bed," it said. The voice was calm, not alarming, soothing even. I checked records. No wiring to that room. My supervisor just said, "Don't clean it. It's not on the list." Each night after, the gurney was moved slightly. One night, the blanket was rumpled. Another, there was a handprint on the metal rail. The voice always returned, always the same message. Then came the crying, soft and distant, leading me straight to the open room. The gurney was empty. The intercom whispered, "We've been waiting." I never went back. Story 6. The Passenger Signal. I ride the late train home, empty, quiet, familiar. But one night, a red light marked "Passenger Request" blinked on. I was alone. The next night, it blinked again, twice, then 3 times. I asked the conductor. He said no such signal exists on that line. The 4th night, I sat beneath it. The light blinked 4 times, then turned solid. I looked at the window. My reflection wasn't alone. A second figure sat beside me in the glass, pale, unmoving, eyes locked forward. I turned. The seat was empty. Back in the reflection, the figure was gone, but the red light above pulsed once more. Now I drive home, but sometimes I still see the late train pass by, and in the window's reflection, 2 shapes seated side by side, always watching, always counting.